Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about astrology and the health of Donald Trump. I'm going to be looking at points in the natal chart and some transits and try to get a little understanding, conception, what's going on as far as his health may be going. Now, some of you may have heard there's been some speculation that Donald Trump has perhaps some strong health issues. There's talk about maybe some small strokes or something he may have had. His gait, his walk is a little bit stiff. They said he was walking very tentatively, I guess you could say, when he was coming down that ramp when he was at West Point that time. And we're going to look at. I'm going to just look at some things in his chart and see if we can maybe deduce if there may be something going on as far as his health goes. Now, the thing about the first, I'm going to talk about some natal placements. Now, in Donald Trump's natal chart, he does have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Gemini, and it's with the North Node as well, and that's, of course, the future, the destiny. Now, the Sun in astrology can be connected with the physical body. I know the ascendant is what dominates the appearance in astrology and the physical health of the body, but the Sun can play a role as well. Now, you're talking about the Sun conjunct Uranus in Gemini. That could manifest in some cases as some physical issues that may be involving the hands, but perhaps tremors in the hands. Uranus could be connected with tremors. You're talking about, Uranus could be about intermittent energy, and of course the hands are associated with Gemini. It can be some nerve damage he might possibly have or have later on in life if he doesn't have. Now, I have Uranus, many of you may know, I have Uranus almost exactly conjunct my 6th house cusp in my natal chart, and I have, at this point in time, irrevocable and extensive nerve damage. And also the moon in Gemini, and that might play a little bit of a role as far as that problems with the nerves, and especially like with the hands and the arms. But going back to Donald Trump, another thing in his natal chart too, and also Uranus could be with the ankles and the shins, and it might have some issues with that perhaps as well, or maybe some unusual health issues can arise and come very unexpectedly, given you're talking about Uranus conjunct his Sun. Now, another thing in his chart is interesting. Okay, he has Mercury in Cancer that is it's intercepted in his 11th house. Now, the fact that the interception right there, I think in some cases can manifest in some issues with this with the speaking times. I'm not saying, Donald Trump is a very eloquent speaker. Don't get me wrong, very articulate, but there has been some talk about him having some issues with his communication, slurred speech. Now, and that could come from a Parkinson's situation or even some stroke, possibly, if he did have one. And I don't know if he had one or not. I don't know if anything's been confirmed. Parkinson's, I don't think it's been confirmed. There's been some talk on the internet about small strokes, possibly at least. But anyway, the thing about it is the fact that it's Mercury in Cancer. Now, Mercury can be connected with these issues, like can be, like things like with Parkinson's as an example. They can be, you're talking about something being in Cancer where it might possibly be hereditary if he does have that issue. Now, the fact that it's in the 11th, it's intercepted in the 11th house could indicate in a reason, maybe how it manifests is that he's trying to conceal it, perhaps. Now, another thing that I noticed with him too, okay, basic position, okay, Aquarius on the 6th house cusp in his natal chart, and one of the rulers of it, Uranus, of course, conjuncts his Sun in Gemini. He has, and the thing about this is too, there is speculation that people had said we've seen him in footage where he's lifting that glass up with 2 hands, and there's some speculation, there's conjecture regarding whether he may have maybe some kind of tremors going on in his hands. I think it's possible, but remember that this hasn't been confirmed. We don't know this as an actual verified fact, but the fact that Aquarius on the 6th house cusp can manifest, of course, in Aquarius like physical health related issues, things that are tremors, something of a spasmodic nature, something with nerves, issues with the shins, the calves, the lower legs even. People notice too he's had the trouble. It appears, I mean, I don't know if he does, but it appears he has a little bit trouble with the mobility issues, with the walking, and Aquarius could be connected with the legs from below the knees, because of course Capricorn is the knees. That's the hamstrings with Capricorn. But the fact is, uh, going back to Aquarius being on a sixth house cusp, it could also be it could be shock sensations, something again with nerve damage, or some kind of very unusual, bizarre health related issue, or some kind of health related issue or debilitation that might come very spontaneously. Now, another thing that I noticed, I want to talk about his the Mars placement he has. He has Mars in Leo, and he has it in the 12th house. It's conjunct his ascendant. Now, when you're talking about Mars and Leo in astrology by itself, this could indicate, this could suggest some very exorbitant heat levels, fire levels. You're talking about Mars, the fiery planet, and of course the Sun. The Sun rules Leo, and the Sun, of course, is very, very hot. Leo is a fire sign, so he has to be careful of dehydration, because when you're talking about Mars and Leo, the water levels can be minuscule and minute in a person. So I hope that he's replenishing what he loses, more so than the average person, because there's more of a propensity for dehydration with this placement. Now, the fact is, this could also be about overexertion too. I mean, Leo energy sometimes doesn't know when to quit. It does conjunct his ascendant. He may have an exorbitant amount of energy, but he has to be careful in how he utilizes it. He also has Leo ascendant at 29 degrees, which of course is the full culmination of the sign. It can be a 29 degrees is critical in astrology. The ascendant, of course, is connected with our vitality, energy, the physical body. So this is something where he could be in a crisis issue, health-wise, and it could be something connected with strokes and heart attacks. He has to be very careful. There is speculation, at the very least, that there may have been some strokes. There might have been some small strokes that he may have been involved in. And keep in mind, his Mars in Leo makes a semi-square to the Mercury, his Mercury and intercepted Mercury in Cancer. So this could be an indicator that if a stroke did occur, it might be adversely impacting his speech. So that is one way that this could manifest and pan out. Now I want to talk about some transits that Donald Trump has had. And I talked about the natal placement with the Sun by Uranus in the North Node before, but now he's experiencing his nodal return in Gemini right now too. So of course, when you're experiencing a nodal return, it can be of significant issues. We're talking about it closing in on, it's not far from his natal Sun in Gemini. So these could be about issues one may have to confront as far as health related matters go. It could be something being in Gemini, something with the central nervous system, the lungs, the hands, the arms, something with the respiratory system, breathing. And given that there is speculation he may have Parkinson's, that could be tied in with the central nervous system disorder. So he also at this time has transit Saturn in Aquarius, making an inconjunct aspect to his natal Leo ascendant. So this could be about debilitations that might involve the lower leg, again, tremors, something with the ankles, the shins, some nerve-related issue, and even Saturn by itself, in spite of the sign it's in, if Saturn is in conjunct your ascendant by transit, could also indicate Saturn-related issues, something with the knees, the bones, the joints at this time as well, and just general health related. I mean, when you're talking about Saturn making an inconjunct aspect in your chart, this is something by transit. It can also be really about some limitations that can involve your health at this time. Now, also another transit that he's going through that I thought was interesting. It's actually a couple. I'm putting it into one. He's got transit Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn, at the very least we could say, making a loose inconjunct aspect to his natal Leo ascendant. Hold on a moment, people. So, as I've talked about in previous videos, when you're talking about transits involving Jupiter, or just Jupiter energy in general, Jupiter can be, I mean, it's a very benign, benevolent planet. It could be very fortuitous, but it's paradoxical. It could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, the fact you have transit Jupiter making at least a loose and conjunct aspect to your ascendant, that could be issues that could, I mean, sometimes enlarge some kind of health related issue. It could be Capricorn related, such as something with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings. And you're talking about those that, I mean, and you're talking about those issues, I mean, could affect, when you're talking about bones and joints, of course, that could be tied in to your mobility, your ability to move. And the thing about this too is, and Pluto and and also Pluto making at least a loose and conjunct aspect to his ascendant at this time could also be about bladder issues or something with the reproductive system, anything that could be Pluto related. And also too, you're talking about, there's something that I noticed too. He also has transit Neptune, at least in a loose square to his natal sun right now. And you're talking about the sun in males. There is the right eye in males. It can give, this could manifest in certain eye related issues. You're talking about Neptune. It can be something that could be blurred or obscured vision. Being in Gemini, and the fact his sun is in Gemini, it could be double vision in some cases. And I'm not being flippant or facetious with this. I've seen some evidence. I do believe that when Gemini is involving the sun in Gemini, and it's, you have Mercury or the sun in Gemini or the moon, those are planets that could be connected with the eyes. And if it's afflicted, then sometimes it can be double vision. I have a friend of mine that has his ascendant, actually his ascendant, Mercury and Moon are all in Gemini, and he even stated to me that there was that he had some kind of double vision that he was actually diagnosed with. And there was somebody that I had researched on the internet. It was somebody that got bit by a bat or something, or I don't know what she got. I forgot what she got bit by, but it caused her double vision. And I looked her up online to see what her sun sign was, and sure enough, she was a Gemini sun. So go figure. But anyway, and also, I mean, that's really the main thing I wanted to get at this time as far as astrology and the health of Donald Trump. I also had looked at something in his solar return chart. It did disturb me a little, but he does have Mars conjunct Neptune in Pisces in the solar return chart. This could be about diminished vitality, and also could be about that. It could also, in some cases, you're talking about issues with the that could be physical. The fact, I mean, Mars could be connected with with physical issues. And you're talking about Neptune and Pisces conjunct it. I hope that he does not get the coronavirus at this time, because Neptune and Pisces, I think, is one of the main culprits of this coronavirus pandemic that we're dealing with, because Neptune can be about diseases, and of course Pisces can be about debilitations that are uncurable, and there's no and can't be eradicated, at least at this point in time. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.